we are on the verge of becoming an imperial power. I do believe that.
Okay, imperial power.
Oh, imperial power. See, a country of this size, with this geographical significance, cannot remain silent. It is just not possible. You look at it in the history itself. Why did the Turkeys and the Persians and the Arabs covet India? Why did the Prophet write about conquest of Hind? Why did Britishers spend enormous amount of time, effort in defending the crown jewel? In fact, I would honestly say in 1940s, I'm sure Chinese are the first persons who realized this. A country of this stature, when it is peaceful, we will have trouble.
When it is peaceful, we will have trouble.
We will have trouble.
Because we'll be an imperial power. Wow.
And imagine it, the maritime power, the maritime projection that India can do, no other country can do. Indian Ocean it is, truly. And there are no debates on whether it should be called some other ocean. There is no debate on it. There's a reason why. And India has always been imperial.
Yeah.
Whenever, I'll give a simple example. Look at the Magadhan Empire. The upper half of India was under the control of one ruling dynasty. We decided in Central Asia who rules what.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yeah.
Of history.
Seleucus Nicator, after the Alexander's death,
Okay.
tried to fight with Chandragupta Maurya, lost it, gave his daughter, took 500 elephants and went.
Yeah, that is correct. So, but that was for a brief period under the Mauryas, right?
Exactly, that's because the Maurya bureaucracy collapsed.
After the Mauryan bureaucracy collapsed.
Mauryan bureaucracy collapsed because the story is like this. As Chanakya beautifully says, to be successful, every institution should have two components, the king and the minister. They are like two wheels of the chariot of government.
Okay.
Where was another Chanakya? A country of this magnitude not only requires Samudragupta or Chandragupta, it also requires an equally competent Chanakya. So we have to develop both. Same story I would find even in Rajputana. Look at the Rajputana. We have great kings. Where are the great ministers? So we undermine the component of...
You're talking about ministers here who are administering, or you're talking about the Rajguru here as Chanakya?
Rajguru stories. Chanakya was not Rajguru. Chanakya was prime minister. Rajguru's job is to convince the population that he is legitimate ruler. He follows all that is required according to our culture and civilization and dharma. He follows. But administering a country is not a function of how do I put it, courageous you are. No, it's not. It's a function of several other things. So that institution, what I'm calling as minister here is that setup, a bureaucracy, a traditional or not even non-traditional process of collecting information, assimilating decisions, generating options, and then asking the king to choose. Any culture which ignores this process is doomed. Think about it.
Side question, is this where the Greek Roman Council comes in?
Yes,
Council of
yes.
Ministers, that's where
Even our Council of Ministers. All the ministers, this is very, very important part. This is the government. This is how you govern your kingdom. You can conquer very fast. You can control it. And you can control it efficiently. So this is what Arthashastra was about, which is why in our thinking it was not...
a parallel system at this point in time. So the king is equivalent to the prime minister right now, which is a swap.
No, prime minister is the king. Yeah, you're right about that. Prime minister is actually the king.
And the bureaucracy is the ministers, if you like?
Yes, the bureaucracy, I would say not the bureaucracy, the people whom the king appoints to coordinate with bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is just a process, it's an instrument.
Okay.
It's an instrument to collect the opinions of the public.
So who does the prime minister appoints at this point?
Yeah, ministers. The ministers are the ministers.
So the ministers you're saying are the...
Yeah.
Okay.
But what happens is,
an equivalence with the Chanakyan state.
Exactly. In a political scenario, unfortunately, that is why I do believe there is a very interesting thing that's happening in India. Today, all the ministers in a parliamentary system want to be the kings.
Okay, yes.
Kings, so they think themselves as their kings of their own departments.
That's correct.
Whereas in reality, what's happening in India, I would call it a silent amendment that we have done. We have a presidential style of democracy, functioning very efficiently within a so-called parliamentary system designed by constitution. Today, most of the ministers technically function like American-style secretaries.
Okay.
Strongly inspired, strongly guided by the Prime Minister's office and Prime Minister's guidance.
President.
So that is, I think, a good model. So then you have a Raja and a group of ministers who have the competence to understand how to deal with bureaucracy, how to get things done from bureaucracy. Because they need an agenda. Now the king, who in our example, let's say Priyam, gives an agenda. This is my agenda for your department. You build so many roads. Now we have a great minister like Nitin Gadkari who understands it really well. And he knows how to get it done through bureaucracy. That's the job of a great minister. I would say, I think maybe Nitin Gadkari is a great example.
Yeah, it deviates us from our conversation, but this is interesting, right? I mean, you're drawing parallels between what the Prime Minister is right now, at least in the last 10, 11 years, very presidential style of president, very monarch-like.
Oh, I don't mean that.
You don't
Not
mean
monarch-like.
Okay.
I'm saying the division of work is efficient. Now, in a parliamentary style of democracy, division of work is done. PM is just first among equals.
I get that, but go back to your comment about the Chanakyan state. And so what failed? The kingship changed, but there was no ministers, you said. So which means there was no Chanakya, which means there wasn't what?
There wasn't a process to select the ministers and maintain it.
So that the bureaucracy could go on with or without the king in place.
That's exactly why.
So we have it now?
Yes, that's exactly what the legend Sardar Patel said. This is a steel frame, let's keep it. Today, you can comment on outcomes of bureaucracy, but you cannot comment on the qualifications of people in bureaucracy. They go through a very competitive struggle to go there. But how you use them is our society's problem. Are we using them wisely? Are we getting the society's best possible utility from them? That is something that we must contemplate about. When you meet a young guy who just cleared service, you meet him and talk to him. There may be few rotten examples. I don't think, let's not talk about minority, let's talk about the majority. Most of them sacrificed whatever they have earned because they are genuinely motivated to serve their country. Now, what do we make out of them is our collective problem. So we have figured out how to get the best people for these roles. Now, how do we groom them, develop them in a way that this strong ministerial structure can empower a great king, a rise of a great king and a great empire? And that's something we need to figure out.
And your answer to this is the reform answer, which means where do we need to go? For example, you pointed to the autonomy that a district collector.
Yeah, see, this is a very complex matter, and I think we need a much larger debate and discussion.
Absolutely.
But that being said, I will humbly place in front of not only you and your viewers whatever I think.
Yes.
I will tell you, first of all, the Indian system. See, we are generally very averse to complete reform. We want to do it incremental for the right reasons. As a wise civilization, we understand that very well.
Yes.
How to change gear slowly, not from 0 to 5.
Yes. We are not about a revolution. We are
about a gradual incremental reform.
Absolutely.
But we are also impatient when it comes to
somebody,
not
a person called Jerry Rao, he was the founder and chairman of Emphasis, Jaytirath Rao. He gave a lecture on the Indian conservative on SangamTalks, and he told me this outside the conversation, and also that we're a people who are not about a revolution. We are about slow change, and that is how he defines the Indian conservative. Sorry.
Absolutely.